These police officers investigate a murder mystery in a hotel. Inside a room, they find the clerk's lifeless body covered with a piece of cloth. Young Hyun, the senior officer, upon noticing some mysterious wounds on clerk's neck, suspects that the injuries are not inflicted by a knife. Everyone suspects the person who stayed in this room to be the culprit, yet no one has seen him leaving the hotel, nor does he appear in any CCTV footage. Confused, Hyun begins searching the room in a very random manner, which annoys his colleague, Jungkook, but unexpectedly he finds the culprit hiding under the bed. It turns out, the culprit, Sung Woo-jae, wasn't in his right mind when he attacked the clerk. He thought he had a nightmare of doing that, but when he came back to his senses, the clerk was already dead. The most horrifying thing of all, that Woo-jae has bitten the clerk to death. All this happened because apparently, he took a mysterious pill from his friend. Meanwhile, during a special force operation, Sebom urgently takes her severely injured colleague to the medic, Young Tae, who can be seen very nervous and sweating like hell. Sebom puts Sung on the table to be treated immediately, but Young Tae was very slow with his actions and his hesitation led to his teammate's death. However, it turns out to be Young Tae's test, which he failed very badly. Being the in charge of all trainees, Sebom deducts Young Tae's points. Sung claims if Sebom is the standard, everyone in the world will fail. It turns out, during their own trainee days, Sebom had acted with remarkable swiftness. She quickly injects the injured, not knowing she was being tested. It led the officer a medical emergency, that he was transferred to another unit later on. From that day, the police began to use these special jackets. After sending Woo-jae for further investigation, Hyun contacts Sebom to inform her about the situation. Woo-jae had apparently taken pills from the trainee, Young Tae. This news deeply disturbs Sebom, and she rushes to check on Young Tae. However, when she arrives, she is shocked to find him attacking another colleague. Young Tae has already transformed into a terrifying monster. He charges at Sebom with his brutal strength, and not even a bullet can stop him. Sebom handles the monster with her amazing fighting skills, while Sung helps the injured to escape. As she traps Young Tae in a room, he starts smashing his head against the door and eventually collapses to the ground. It seems he has returned to his normal state, just like Woo-jae. A medical team arrives to treat him, while Sebom, exhausted and shaken, heads to the restroom to collect herself. She calls Hyun and screams at him that she almost died. She asks him how he was able to catch a monster like that without any gun. Hyun calmly explained that he only persuaded his suspect into submission. As they talk, Sebom notices a scratch on her hand, suddenly realizing it must have happened a few minutes ago. Suddenly, Lieutenant Colonel Tae-suk arrives with his team to take Sebom into custody for medical tests, as she was scratched by Young Tae. Sebom cooperates with them quietly and hands over her weapon and mobile before leaving the academy. Tae-suk receives a call from Hyun, who introduces himself, and mentions that he is also investigating a culprit with the same infection. Hearing this, Tae-suk instructs Hyun to meet him at his police office. During their meeting, Tae-suk informs that if a person is bitten or scratched, there is a higher chance of him infected by this disease. Hyun adds that his suspect took a pill from Young Tae, which might be causing the infection. Tae-suk instructs him to be in contacts if he is able to find the pill. Without wasting time, Hyun goes to a hotel once again, and after much search, he was able to find the pill. However, he receives call from Jungkook, who informs him that their culprit is clean from any drug results, and the pill might be a painkiller or multivitamin. Yet, Hyun wasn't satisfied. He goes to his friend and shows him the pill. Hyun tells him to search about the product online and list out the cons of it as well, while he himself goes to sleep. The military conducts several tests on Sebom and takes pictures of her wound. Concerned, she asks if she is going to end up like Young Tae, which unsettles the Lieutenant Jisoo. Sebom even pretends to scare the medic further. She is moved to a separate room since she seems to be the only normal person among all other victims, making her the first potential antibody carrier. Meanwhile, Hyun's friend finds the pill online. It's called Next. The pill was distributed nationwide during the COVID era, and its most dangerous effects include addiction, hallucination, and emotional fluctuations. With this information, Hyun goes to meet Tae-suk. While Sebom is being taken for more medical tests, she spots Young Tae sitting alone in a room. Despite the lieutenant's attempts to stop her, Sebom forces her way inside and locks the door. She approaches Young Tae, who appears to be in a normal state. Sebom questions him about the drug and how he attacked the teammates, causing him to transform into the monster once again. He attacks Sebom, but his mask prevents him from harming her. Soldiers quickly intervene and restrain Young Tae. When Sebom meets Tae-suk, he reassures her that she is perfectly fine and doesn't have any infection like the others. He explains that the infected people bite others because they feel an unquenchable thirst that water cannot satisfy. He informs Sebam that she is ready to leave but will be off work as she might have antibodies. Realizing her newfound importance, Sebam asks for a favor, the highest score on her performance review for the year, which would allow her to qualify for a public apartment reserved for police officers. Tae-suk agrees, noting her already impressive record. Sebam receives her phone and leaves. Outside, she meets Lee-hyun, who has arrived to deliver the pill. Sebam pulls another prank, scaring Ji-soo once again. Seeing Lee-hyun as a perfect match, she proposes to him. It turns out that when they were younger, Lee-hyun had asked Sebam out, but she refused. Lee-hyun says he was only joking back then, but Sebam insists she is serious now. Lee-hyun quickly realizes that Sebam is still short on points, and by marrying a police officer, they both can combine their point to buy the apartment. Unexpectedly, he accepts her proposal, which even shocks her. Meanwhile, news of a virus outbreak spreads across Korea. Sebam meets with Sung, who is anxiously rubbing his neck. Concerned for her safety, he asks about the situation and whether there's any cure in sight. Even though they don't have any solution in hand, Sebam assures him that scientists are trying their best. Sung then confides that he received a call from a reporter, offering money for insider information. Sebam warns him that he is being scammed, as she also received a similar call. Sung also has a scratch on his chest from their encounter with young Tae, but he keeps it a secret. When Sebam goes outside to attend a call, Sung sneaks outside to meet the reporter. He promises that if Sung can give them a video, they will give him a lot of money. On the other hand, Jungkook congratulates Lee-hyun on his wedding, presenting him with a small gift from his wife's store. He also asks Lee-hyun to share the cakes with his neighbors. Later at the apartment building, Sebam encounters a strange man named Se-hun in the lift. Se-hun appears to be extremely cautious about his health. He gives Sebam a face mask, urging her to wear it at least when indoors. He also reveals that he is a huge fan of the special police force and requests Sebam to bring him an SOU t-shirt. Sebam doesn't turn him down, saying she'll look into it. Back at her apartment, 501, Lee-hyun is busy unpacking their belongings. He hangs an old photo of them on the wall, a keepsake of their memories and a prop to show the inspection team why they got married, as they are planning to pretend to be a married couple. When Lee-hyun is about to distribute cakes, Sebam takes over. At apartment 502, a little girl named Seo-yoon receives the cake and then accompanies Sebam through the whole building. When they reach the 6th floor, Seo-yoon explains that the residents have blocked the path, calling the public housing people poor. Ignoring the rule, Sebam kicks open the door, much to Seo-yoon's delight, who now sees Sebam as her hero. A freelance lawyer named Hae-sun lives in apartment 602 with his wife, So-yoon, who was once his assistant. While Dr. Ju Hyung, who lives in 601, cheats on his strict and rude wife, Min-ji. That night, Sebam hears loud noises coming from the apartment above. And when she checks out the next day, Hyung nervously explains that he was just moving furniture. Meanwhile, Lee-hyun is forced to work with Tae-suk on the next drug case. Tae-suk gives Lee-hyun a ton of money to contact the drug dealer and capture him. At the car wash, Lee-hyun and Tae-suk arrive to meet the dealers, while Jungkook waits in the car. As the exchange begins, Lee-hyun hands over all the money, only to suddenly knock one of the dealers to the ground. Demonstrating his exceptional fighting skills, he quickly takes down the rest of the dealers. However, as they open the trunk to retrieve the pills, they encounter the monsters from inside. Before they can get infected, Tae-suk fires multiple shots and kills the monster. Lee-hyun was very furious at him for killing an innocent person, yet they didn't have any choice. As they interrogate the remaining dealers, a shocking truth emerges that all of them have been taken next, and it's only a matter of time before they too transform into monsters. On the other hand, Sung is sitting alone, feeling depressed about his situation. He intentionally makes a cut on his right arm and calls Sebam, claiming he was scratched by a trainee and that his wound isn't healing. Sebam immediately takes him for a checkup, where Ji-soo quickly realizes that the wound isn't a scratch. Despite this, they proceed with the test. When Sebam was taking her blood test, Sung escapes in disguise, telling Sebam that he cannot die there. He finds a freezing container where all the patients are stored, and starts recording. Realizing how dangerous this place is, Sung tries to escape, but the container was locked from outside. Suddenly, the patients awake from their sleep. When the soldiers open the container gate, all the infected people try to break out because of their thirst, while Sung was also sitting in there, and had turned into one.